today I'm going to be talking about my university experience. As I go into my second year of university, I just want to reflect and discuss and talk about what happened in first year and basically just explaining my experience in general. The first year just went by so fast, like it literally flew by. It literally went like this. Like, I don't know where I am, I don't know what happened, but it's gone. So if anything, if I had to give you like one advice, I would just say make the most out of it because it's gonna go by so fast. Okay, so to stop myself from rambling onto different topics which probably doesn't even relate to what I'm even talking about, I am going to be separating what I'm going to be talking about into different topics. So I'm going to be talking about like the whole academic side of things, so choosing your course and how I dealt with it, and the whole social life, the whole accommodation, where you live, halls of residence, and money. So yeah. So as for the whole academic side of things, like choosing your course, I'm probably not the best to be advising anything because I am full of last minute decisions. I knew from the last exam I took in A-levels, it was my biology exam. I remember walking out of it, I'm like, I just knew from then that I had it in my mind, it was set that I was redoing the year. I told everybody, I was just like, yeah, I'm redoing the year, yeah, I'm retaking, yeah, so I'm gonna do the A-levels again. Literally, that was what was on my mind. It was until like a few days before results day, I was like, clearing. I totally, like, I don't know, clearing just never crossed my mind. It just never came across that I was going to go into clearing. My mind was just set on my first choice. If I couldn't get into my first choice, that was it. I didn't want to go to my insurance. I got into my insurance, but I didn't want to go to my insurance. So I was just like, you know what, clearing. I felt like my life in general has always been set on like, I could either go on this path or this path. I didn't really know which path to take because I was always set on either doing the whole biological side of things. So I was going to go into like a biology related subject and do something biology related, or I was going to go something into the more creative side of things. And I was always really unsure of that, but when I went into clearing I was kind of like, I have a second chance. I didn't know which one to choose because when I went through clearing I applied for 2 universities and it was either go to Southampton, which is great if you want to do something like in the whole like medical kind of field, and it was like to do a biology related course. Also tuition fees would have been free because the whole NHS thing, and it was just like everything was set, everything was planned. I remember talking to the lecturer and he was explaining every single thing and I was like, oh my god, it sounds so good. But then again, there was also my other clearing option, which was the University of Kent, and that was for film, which Kent is great for film because it was, I don't know if it was like second or third for film, but it was pretty high up, so I was like, I don't really know what to do, and if I go in the more creative side of things, I'm risking it more in the end goal. But I was like, which one do I prefer? I picked Kent in the end, and it was pretty last minute. You know what, I'm pretty happy right now where I am, so I feel like I made the right decision. When I was doing my A-levels, I remember this question always being asked and always being wondered in the fact that, is university harder or is A-levels harder? Is it a step up or a step down? For me personally, I feel like it really depends on what subject you take, because previously in my A-levels I did take biology and maths, which are quite content heavy subjects. Since in university my topic was a lot more chill, it was a lot less content heavy kind of subject. It was more of the creating side and more of adapting on your ideas. I felt like, yeah, university is easier because a lot less workload than I was doing previously in A-levels, but I'd say it really does depend on the subject you're taking. I also asked my friends if they felt like university was harder or if A-levels were harder. The majority said that university was harder. So I really do think it depends on your subject topic and what subjects you took in A-levels. Really depends on the person, I guess. Balancing your social life and your whole work life, your study life and everything. Well, for me personally, I had this whole first year doesn't count mentality. You only need 40% to pass. So I was thinking, oh yeah, just make it fun. So for me, my social life was here as opposed to my work and study life was like down here. Since I had that whole mentality of having, oh yeah, first year doesn't count towards your final grade, I left everything pretty much to the last minute. minutes. I remember one time I had 3 essays that I had to do in 1 week, and the last essay I didn't even bother with the introduction or the conclusion, just because it would not fit in the word count whatsoever if I were to put an introduction or conclusion. So I was like, you know what, whatever, don't really care anymore. It was my like last essay of the term. I ended up getting a first in that essay, which I do not get because I didn't do an introduction or conclusion. I was really chilled when it came to the whole work and deadlines and stuff. Not as chill as my housemate though, who leaves things to the very last minute. There were some times that we would just be in the kitchen and we would do anything but nothing just to not do our work. We would even catch ourselves just looking in our food cupboard and just staring in it for a good minute, then snapping out of it and realizing, what are we doing? And we're just staring in our food cupboard. Personally, I wouldn't really recommend leaving things to the last minute and having the whole first year doesn't count mentality, just because first year just helps you experience what work life is like for your second and third years, maybe fourth years. Probably it really does prepare you for how you organize your time for your future years at uni and how you manage your whole workload that you have. So I really guess for time management that you shouldn't leave things to the last minute, but I kind of just, you know, it's a bit too late for me to change that right now. So the next topic I'm going to talk about is the whole social life and yeah, social life. So as you enter into first year of university, there is Freshers Week, which is basically a week where it's dedicated for you to have fun, spend time and get to know your housemates or flatmates or whatever mates and to make friends. If you like drinking, this week is probably made for you, and it's basically just a whole week of having fun without the worry of work or anything, because you do not have any lectures that you have to go to in the morning or anything that you have to wake up extremely early just to get ready to work or whatever, and it's just a week of fun and socializing. You also get introduction lectures as well, where you just basically get to know more about your course, and I had a trial kind of lecture for one of my courses, and I remember we had to make a film-ish thing, a short like video basically, and you get to know more about your course. You also get to see who's on your course and how big each of your lectures are and how many people there are in there, basically. Just why I just repeat myself twice. I remember for one of my introduction lectures there was a bomb scare. Anyways, there'll be a lot of events going on for Freshers Week. I remember for mine there were Fresh Book. I remember there was a neon paint party. I lived in a student village thing-ish. I don't really know what to call it, to be honest. And so since there were a lot of houses, there was a lot of house parties going on throughout Freshers Week. As for the whole making friends at uni and everything, I feel like university is probably one of the most easiest places just to make friends, because I feel like since everyone else is on the same playing field, well, majority of people anyway, where they don't know anyone, it's kind of like the whole fresh start. Just getting to know people is really easy because nobody knows anyone, so at the start it's a lot of getting to know people and just remembering people's names. For me that was really hard because I would always call people by their wrong names. I did that a lot. Like if you choose to live on campus, then probably your first set of friends at university will probably be either your flatmates or housemates. For me that was my experience anyways. If not, there is course mates. I felt like for me, for my course personally, it was really easy just to get to know people because you could just sit wherever and whoever would be sat next to you would instantly probably be your best friend by the end of your lecture. I don't know if it was just my university or just my course in particular, because when I ask my friends who go to different universities, they're like, it's completely not like my whole experience in my course. It might just be the university, it might just be a course, or it might be just me. I don't really know. There's Freshers Fair, where it's basically a fair of different booths of different societies which you can join. For me, I joined KTV. I only went for like a few of the meetups. I didn't really commit to it. I paid for the membership. Oh, by the way, KTV is University of Kent's TV kind of thing. I don't really know what to call it. Society club? I don't really know. I only went to very few of the sessions. I made a friend there. Like we basically never really turned up to anything, and every single time we see each other was like, have you been to KTV? Or like, nope. We should really go because it's we paid for membership and really think that we should go. And we never end up going in the end, but yeah. I do know quite a few people who met the majority of their university friends in a society. Personally, I feel like I should have joined a society, but I just, I'm really bad with the whole commitment thing for going to a club and the whole getting there, and so the next thing I'm going to be talking about is the whole accommodation, halls of residence, where you live and whatever, if you're gonna commute. Actually, I'm probably not going to talk about that because I have no experience with commuting. I lived in this student village place. It was called Parkwood and it was on campus, but it was far out on campus. Like, it was a good walk to the main part of campus just to get to your lectures. It kind of felt like you were off campus but you weren't, if that made sense. Yeah, it was a very student life accommodation. It was very studenty. It was communal toilets, it was communal showers. It was a house of 6 including me, and I really loved living with the 4 of them. Since I did go through clearing, I did not have the option to choose my accommodation, so I basically was just given whatever was left. Okay, so if you compare my accommodation to other accommodations in my uni, it was very kind of the lower end of accommodations. It wasn't the worst accommodation that you could get, but it was on the low end of side of things. Like, I would go to my course mate, her shower would be double the size of mine, whereas I had to share mine and it'll be half the size of hers. Since you don't get to choose your housemates, you may be put with people who you just do not get along with, and your personalities just may clash and you just may hate each other for the rest of the whole entire year. I loved living with 4 of my housemates. They were great. One of my housemates, however, since the first week we've had a disagreement, and it just went on for basically the rest of the year. Like, it wasn't just me, like, he annoyed a lot of people. It's just that he chose to target me the most, so I tend to show him that I don't really like him or his company or anything in general. But yeah, unless you're lucky, then there probably will be disagreements within your house, and maybe you just won't get along with every single one of them. But what can you really do about it? Like, for my friend's university, the main issue in her house was the whole cleanliness of things. Like, everything was just left in a state. But for me, I didn't have much of an issue with the whole cleanliness of things, like, because we did have a cleaner who went in and cleaned everything. We'll just wipe down the surfaces once a week. If anything, it was just that one housemate, that one housemate who would just mess everything up. This guy who always pisses on the toilet seat when it's a shared, okay, so if it's a shared toilet, you want to leave it clean for the next person, but no, let me leave some piss residue on the side of the toilet seat for you. So the last thing I'm going to be talking about is money, and for me, I didn't really have an issue. Majority of people will have student finance, and if you're really bad with money, then I feel like budgeting yourself would probably be the most efficient way to kind of spread out and just organize yourself and just know how much you have and how much you can spend. There will be a lot of things that will add up and it will cost you a lot. If you want to join the gym, I think the gym membership is over 200, so it's a lot, and there's also going out, which costs, and your food and just living and breathing. It feels like you're paying for the air you're breathing. You basically, your money will just leave your account and you just don't know why and how, and it's just like, For me, I never budgeted myself because I just feel like if I put numbers to this, it's just gonna complicate my life and my brain, and I just won't be able to deal with it. If you're bad with money, I feel like if you just budget yourself and just see how much you can spend a week or per day and just ration yourself out a little bit, but you should be fine. Unless your accommodation is super pricey, then probably you're going to be left with a lot less less money than you can spend on a lot of other people. For me, my student finance managed to cover everything. I was alright for university. Also, there was the whole YouTube thing on the side as well, which helped. If anything, there's always jobs going around and you can get a job in town because there should be a town nearby somewhere. If not, an on-campus job is probably a lot easier and especially a lot more convenient if you're a first year, since you probably would live on campus, so it would just be easy to get to. They probably understand that you're a student and that you can't work whilst, you know, you're on off-term times, so it's probably easiest just to work on an on-campus job. So there's that. So there's always getting a job. And the whole food-wise, I feel like food was probably the most expensive thing that you're going to be spending on in uni. Yeah, for me, I was really over-prepared when it came to food. I was stocked up to the point where the food probably could have lasted me to a whole other term in uni, but yeah, I was just really over-prepared. Like, my mum would already pack a lot of food for me already, so I already had a lot of that and I didn't really have to pay for anything extra on top apart from like the fresh things like eggs and bread and milk and stuff like that. So I was quite prepared when it came to the food, so I didn't have to spend a lot of money on food. But yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything. If you think I haven't, or if you have a query or question or something that you would like to comment, or just feedback in general, let me know in the comments below and I will happily reply to everyone. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in my next video. Adios, amigos.